Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life.
Another episode of Next to Madison. I am your host, Madison Malloy, and on today's episode, we are talking cybersecurity. Don't get bored. Make sure you stay tuned because this applies to everybody that uses a computer or a phone or email, and all my listeners have access to this. So that is you. Please tune in. I'm sitting down with Kevin Fream, who's America's Cyberist. We're talking about passwords. We're talking about the development of AI, the ups and the downs. We talk about how to freeze your credit report. We talk about how LifeLock and that title lock for your home is really just a scam. You don't need it. You can take free steps to protect your credit simply by freezing it. So he goes into that detail. He talks about his book. He talks about his personal challenges that he's had to overcome. He's an amazing, inspiring human being. We talk about the importance of 2FA. If you hear 2FA, I want to make sure you have everything, including all your social media, on 2FA. So this is a very useful, educational episode. So if you stop listening to this, you're going to miss out on some great stuff that's going to help you stay protected, stay safe, and also inspire you to innovate. Because in the world of technology, you always have to be adaptable and willing to change. When you resist change, you resist growth. So change, learn it, adapt to it, and you're going to grow and just live a better, happier, healthier life. Because on this podcast, we want to make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. So we'll be right back after this brief message with our guest on Next to Madison.
Hey, it's Madison Malloy. Just wanted to remind you to make sure you grab a copy of my book, Time to Lighten the Fuck Up. It is a great, funny self-help book that is going to help you get out of your own way. I have already helped thousands and thousands of people, and they are on their way to living their dream life, and I want every listener to be able to live their dream life as well. So grab a copy of the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or even the audiobook on Audible. Now back to the show.
We are back with our amazing guest on this episode of Next to Madison. We have got Kevin Fream, America's Cyberist. What's up, Kevin?
Hey, Madison. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a real whirlwind. I would like to be able to say that I was always charismatic and was able to come on and do these things. But, I was born with a rare condition called some brachydactyly. So I was 6 weeks premature, barely 4 pounds. And of course, I had to be revived. And I could hear my mother say, "Oh, I don't care if it's a girl or a boy. I just hope it's healthy and has all its fingers and toes." And well, at least I had all my toes. So, I had an extreme overbite, and I was ridiculed harshly. And I was Ralphie from the Christmas Story, running home from the bully every day after school. Ah! And finally, one day I said, "Why am I afraid?" And I turned around and I tackled Billy, and we got up and I hit him with a perfect 1-2, nose and eye. And that's where I found the courage, to fight back to bullies. And, at the same time, I really recognized that my limitations were nothing compared to my cousin Mark, who had muscular dystrophy and was in a wheelchair and was told that he wouldn't live past 15. And that's been a recurring theme all my life since, I love to figure out games, and I leveraged that idea and, went to the Collins School of Business and, went on to when barcoding was first starting and PCs were first starting. I was right there at the right time. And unfortunately, my wife, who was very young, had an aneurysm that leaked and instead of burst, or she would have died, but she had a massive stroke, and I had to help her learn to walk and talk and read and write again over a 9-month period.
Wow.
And, that was very difficult. And then, soon after that, I had some engineers that I had taken over the company and bought it, and they decided that they were going to throw me under the bus and disparage my name and steal all my clients. So, my mission today is to help people, don't be easy prey. Every business owner has probably had, unfortunately, some kind of employee take something from them, and
Yeah.
even everything's
So
online, and that's why
it
we're here
is. So
today.
I want to go back before we get into the business and the cyber portion of it. So you and I met at a mastermind in Mexico, and I was
Right.
so inspired by you. You were born with almost like, as you called it, a little bit of a disadvantage in a way. And you were able to overcome this. And now when I first met you, I said, that man has so much confidence and is so well spoken and is so amazing to be around. Like, let's talk about that because there's so many people who don't have the challenges that you faced and they're having a hard time becoming something. So, what's some inspiration you can give people to be like, you have no reason to not be confident?
I don't know where this came from, but really early on, I decided, hey, if people are going to laugh at you anyway, then what's the risk in just trying to go for it and
Yeah.
try to be successful? And that's probably the thing that makes me a little bit different is that's the secret of my success is all the hardships. But the other part is instead of the bits and bytes, right? It truly is about change. And do you want it bad enough? Or are you in a place where it's simply time? And that becomes that decision. And, I really try to live it every day. I have a daily scribe that I do on LinkedIn that is truly about, something I've learned or, something that's really unique, often about a celebrity, but it may be, a principle or something that's, an example for people to understand. And I do that. And, it truly is about you got to decide to take that risk. And, hopefully I live it and do that as an example for others.
Yeah, I mean that's what I saw. So, the message here, you guys, is no matter what challenges you're facing, you're your only obstacle holding you back. So if it's fear of what people think or fear of people laughing at you, well, everyone's going to have an opinion. And the more successful and the more you make of yourself, the more those voices are going to get louder. So you might as well just push through because you're the only one that's holding you back. Do you want to live a mediocre life or do you want to be like our guest Kevin and live an extraordinary life? So you're an amazing inspiration to me, but obviously we're going to get into cybersecurity because that is your thing because you are America's cyberist and I love it. So let's talk about that because our whole lives are online, medical records, banking records, social media, everything. So what are some of the most common online threats you've seen and how do people protect themselves?
Well, this is going to sound really simple,
Okay.
but there's two big things that are your biggest risk. And the number one risk is email, and the
Mm-hmm.
number two risk is the internet. So
Yeah.
let's just go back to the Stone Age, right? But I do several segments on national TV. The first I would talk about is identity theft. So I call it safe.
Okay.
And S is you should search the dark web for your information. There's places like Have I Been Pawned that you can look up your name, look up your email address, and they'll see if there's passwords out there, and that's your clue to say, "Whoops, I shouldn't be using that same password everywhere," or "I didn't know I had this old account."
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things. And then alerts. You should have an alert on Google Alert or Bing Alert, your favorite, of your name. bank accounts, credit cards, all those things. So, and then obviously alerts in any of your free credit reporting that's often available to you through your banks. And this third one is freeze. You should freeze your credit report. People think that somehow inhibits you, but it doesn't. It simply prevents people from opening new accounts without you unfreezing your account. And it's as simple as going online or calling the credit bureau to do that before you go get that loan for a car, or maybe you're trying to get a house, or it's a new credit card. The current scam today is, oh, your house is going to be taken away from you because they're going to steal your title to your house.
I've seen that. There's a lot of commercials running for the title lock company.
That's not a thing, because by the time that's happened, it's already there. It's not like credit reporting. And if you had those kind of things in place, you would already know that and have those alerts. And the last one is erase. And if you will go through your old social media accounts, I don't know, maybe you still have MySpace and a bunch of stuff out there like that.
Not that old, geez.
Some social media out there.
Was it highschoolfriends.com?
Yeah, exactly. all kinds of things that you don't really know about, and get rid of that stuff. And there's so many just general things, especially for women today. The common thing is to use maiden names when you go on Facebook and those kind of stuff. Well, guess what? You're giving away the first security questions. What was your mother's maiden name is a real common one. And it also begins to build a tree for all your other family members. So people just don't put it together. And those are some really simple things.
No, that's great. I like how you said that. And I like that you brought up the title lock thing. So how does somebody go about freezing their credit report? So
if you have Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, your favorite, all of their portals simply have a menu option that you slide across, and it freezes at that point and locks it.
So you're the only one that can. So you would have to unlock it though if you were going to go buy a house or a car or open a new credit. Correct. Okay, but you would do it and then you would freeze it back.
Correct.
And so even though your credit score is constantly changing, like when you're paying off certain like debts, or if you have a balance, it doesn't have interest, but you're paying those down.
Right.
Your credit score is constantly fluctuating month to month. If you freeze it, is it still being positively impacted when you're making those payments?
Well, that's one of the things that they look for is, did you slide the lock across? And so no new accounts can be opened without you knowing. And that's a big part of it.
Very simple. It's a very simple.
It's really simple.
And so the title with the title home, because I've been seeing this all over the news, not the news, the TV title lock is really, they got a big budget. And I'm like, did they create this mess to do this company? I just think that after hearing Bill Gates created the virus to then create virus, I'm like, you scum lord buckets. Well, so how does that even happen? Like, how do you prevent your title without having to pay these little ambulance chasers, I call them?
Well, this is all part of your credit bureaus. Most people don't really kind of understand that. And then if you have the alerts set up, if they go to get a loan in your name or any of those kind of stuff, that's where that's going to be triggered, and it's going to be stopped.
What about the title of your home?
So that's the same kind of thing. Is if you have the title of your home, first of all, you do have to go through a legal process to do that, and you would have to be brought. You'd have to be brought in to approve it, and it's all via mail. So it's not something where you simply just walk in and pay a $5 fee and walk away.
So how are these people getting people's titles, or is this just a scam?
This is very much a scam. Every state's a little bit different. There's 2 states left in the nation that have abstracts. And so in addition to the title, you have an abstract. So this is truly, I have counterparts that are attorneys that are going on TV explaining that this is just totally a scam.
So you don't need
And
a title lock, and these companies should not be advertising.
You're throwing your money away.
Good to know. So don't worry about that. When you see the ad, flip them off and move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Much like LifeLock, right? The guy who started LifeLock and put his social security number on the side of vans and on billboards and that kind of stuff. And then his identity got hacked 64 times, and he's all in all kinds of lawsuits. People ask me all the time, should I get LifeLock? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. You're paying additional for, something that often is included with a lot of other services. Or like I said, if you have the credit monitoring, it's a nominal cost per month.
Okay, so credit monitoring is great. Okay, I like that. Safe. So just go through real quick. What does SAFE stand for? Secure, accessible.
Search the dark web.
Search.
A alerts. Google alerts. Credit alerts. All those kind of alerts. F is to freeze your credit report. And then E is erase any old or spurious information about you. Obviously, things aren't gone forever, but you're getting away from the low-hanging fruit where people can simply just search and find something really easily.
Okay, perfect. All right, awesome. And then let's talk about passwords. How often should people be changing these passwords?
This is a point of controversy. You have two really lanes to split from. There's one group that says, hey, you should only change your password like maybe once a year. And then there's another group that says, hey, you should do it at least every 90 days. And typically passwords today, they recommend to be a minimum of 14 characters.
Okay.
And so that means it needs to be some kind of phrase that you can remember, right?
Yeah.
Madison is really funny, whatever it is. Now I would use that. You wouldn't, because it's got your name.
No, very obvious. Yeah, exactly. Madison, but naughty dog.
Yeah, every 90 days is a typical one, and it should be, it shouldn't be too frequent because you can't remember them, right?
And then you got to have like another thing. Like I have it's like you have to have like things protected and unlock boxes. It's like, yeah, how do you remember? Okay, so that's a great question. When you have all these zillions of passwords, where can you keep them in like a document or a database that's going to be locked and safe, because you can't remember all of them?
Well, the number one thing, and this is a convenience stuff, and people think it's safe, never ever store a password in a browser. It's the first thing that can be hacked, and we do tests all the time and show clients of.
So what about your computer automatically logging you in? If you're already like Facebook's a good one. Like you go on Facebook and then you're automatically logged in.
If you have it marked as a safe device, that's fine. But you should have around this. You should have a password manager. Pick LastPass or one of your favorites. So it's only one critical password that you need to remember, and then it'll generate passwords for you that are all unique, and it will also autofill, but they're not stored in the browser. And the other part is for everything, you need to have two-factor authentication.
Yes, that is so key, because people can get your password, but they can't get in without that.
Well, and then you should have alternates, right? You should have an alternate email. You should have an alternate phone number so that you can't get locked out when those kind of things happen. Those are the big things around passwords. Now, the new thing that's coming, and maybe you've seen this, it's called passwordless. And so the idea is if you have a camera that does infrared, because it's got to pick up contour based upon whether it's light or dark or those kind of stuff. And then you have any current computer that has a TPM chip in it, then that TPM chip and your face is what's going to log you in. And we're going to get away from passwords altogether, but obviously apps have to catch up to it. And it's already available in all the Microsoft operating systems. So, and I'm sure it will come to Mac next and all those kind of things.
It's kind of like your phone, like your
Exactly.
phone. Okay. And there's nothing satanic about them scanning your face, correct?
There's not.
Like a beast or anything like that.
It's using infrared is what people don't understand. They think it's an actual picture and you can take a picture and fool it. It doesn't work that way. Unlike, there are some issues with, obviously, if you have a copy of your fingerprint, then you can't change it. So you can fool sometimes with fingerprint.
And then what if you get a facelift?
Then you have to retake the picture and test it.
That should be a good one. That should be a good test. How good was my facelift? And you go, can't get into anything. Pretty damn good. If you could still get into it, it wasn't good enough.
Well, don't laugh. 2 years ago, I had double jaw surgery. So I had my upper jaw pushed down and forward slightly, and then my lower jaw was actually pulled out almost 2 inches.
Wow.
And so I don't look like I did before. So there's before and after. You can see someone behind me where I look a little bit different. And it's totally changed my profile. And it did change the shape of my face.
Yeah.
And I had to have all those things done.
Yeah. Right. Like redo them again.
Right.
That's so interesting. So that kind of goes into how to protect your personal info online. Is to make sure you got the 2FA, strong passwords, not storing them on databases. So how do you store your passwords safely to remember all of them? Because there's like 1,000 of them.
Yeah. Well, again, if you're really using a password manager, have you used a password manager before?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't think so.
There's a dozen. One of the more popular ones is LastPass. And basically,
LAST?
Yes.
Okay.
What it is just a plugin that goes in your browser. So it's an app and that goes in your browser, but it's cloud-based. So you only have to remember one main password, and you should go in and they have security for backup, and it has a authenticator and 2-factor. And part of the password manager is that it will generate passwords for your different services, and it will autofill them because it has a plugin in the browser. So if you have a service that you go to regularly, it already has it in there, and it'll fill it in for you. You may not even know what the password is, but you'll say, hey, it's got to be at least 14 characters and complex, and it's going to fill it in. And it takes it all off of you. And then if you have any kind of problem, you only have one password to remember. But also, if you have something up with any of your accounts, you can click a button and it'll reset all of them all in one setting, so that you don't have to go through the whole "I forgot my password" thing. So,
so if they're picking those like really crazy strong passwords, and then you keep those, like you go to log into your Gmail, like how do you find that password? It just automatically syncs.
It's an autofill. It sees that. You'll see a little button there, and it'll fill it in for you.
So what if you're at the library and you needed to log into your Gmail to print something?
So you can have the app on your phone, and you can see the password, and you can type it in from that if you need to check it.
All right, perfect. That's good to know, because people are running out of passwords. Well, obviously it's don't use your wife's name, your name, your pet's name, nothing, because that's all.
Your favorite car, birthdays,
birthdays. That's exactly right. So I want to switch gears, and I want to go into AI, because you and I, when we were at that seminar, we were talking about ChatGPT and how it was so helpful and it was so great. There's so many positives, but so what is your fears? Let's start with the fears around AI, because Elon said he's got fears. What do you think
obviously from the movies, you have the whole Terminator and the Matrix thing of we are going to be turned into batteries, or the robots are going to try to destroy us. That's a very distant thing. And I look at it more as a tool. And, when I first started in the industry in the late 80s and early 90s, I met somebody and she immediately said, oh, you're in technology, you're stealing people's jobs. I'm like, we're talking about barcodes here.
Yeah, right. You're like, oh, you just wait.
Yeah, but so it's very much the same thing of we would go in and do Goodyear tires would in one day ship 6,000 more tires a day because they're using automation and barcodes. And then we went to Snap-on Tools and they were able to do payroll in an hour for all locations worldwide just because they're using modern technology. AI is going to be a lot like this. It's going to be a personal tool. And one of the things that's coming up with it is, what is the source of all this information and how do you personally verify it? And your AI, Madison, is going to be different than mine because you're going to say, hey, I'm a former comedian, I'm a business expert. You're going to tell your AI certain things, and it's going to go off and generate a story, a article, all those kinds of stuff. I will do something that's based upon my personality and my background, and then there's going to be things that it's going to just create, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to know, hey, that's not exactly right. And I see it a lot since I deal with technology of, no, this isn't exactly right. Where did you get that from? And it's still in its early phases. And we got to realize they're dumb computers and somebody just programmed them. And this is just another algorithm. And that's the big secret, I think, is we really have to go back to critical thinking of, is this really right, and not just accept whatever is spit out to us.
Well, right. That's exactly right. And this is like the early phases, but a lot of these companies now are saying that the AI systems are going to replace a lot of jobs, which is great because it can make them more efficient, but we just have to educate these people because these people need jobs. So they're just going to have to find other things to do. But I think it's like anything. I mean, the people that probably used to do the typewriters, like everybody's going to get replaced at some point. You just have to be adaptable and learn.
When we went from typewriters, to computers,
right?
The people that were typing stuff up went into payroll or accounts payable or other things, and they have more skills and they made more money. When we went from barcoding and data entry, and they went to inventory analysts. So you're typically seeing it is low end things. So, like in our industry today, there's this hated job called a sales development rep. And it sounds really cool, but it means you're picking, you're finding a list and importing it into a database of some prospects that you don't know where it came from. And then you have to figure out if any of this information is real for phone number, address, email, all these kinds of things. And some of it you can't get. Yeah. And then you have the joy of turning around and calling for whatever offer it is, event, those kind of stuff. Well, so that used to be 3 or 4 people's jobs. That was really, pretty low end and not a lot of thought put into it. Well, we're using AI to do all the first part of that, and it saves a ton of costs. And the people that were doing those things are now moving on to actually go into sales and account management. And they're actually meeting with people and going over quarter, are they getting stuff done, what they need to get done, and managing it. And so did we eliminate a lot of costs on our side? Yeah. Did we offer more value to clients? That's what you need to look at. Can it be used maliciously? Yes, we can go down porn and all the other,
Yeah.
spam and everything else. But
Well, I like
it's a
what you
big
said, though.
controversy.
It's one of those things where people need to, I think it's so important that we adapt to change and that we are more accepting and embracing of change. A lot of people don't like change. And when they don't like change, they're resisting what's going to happen anyways. So this needs to be a message for everyone out there. Like, nothing is guaranteed in life. And the quicker you can make yourself comfortable with change and become adaptable to new environments and learning new systems and getting out of the old ways into the new ways, you're going to have a much easier, more peaceful life. And you'll probably actually generate more money. I think people just get very stuck in like what they're doing and they don't want to change because they're so stuck in their ways. And that's where you don't grow. On this podcast, we're all about making you grow. So
You you
change
have to
is
get
good. So don't see AI as a threat. See it as something to evolve you to the next level if your job is at risk. Because I love AI. I mean, there's so many people that I would have been like hiring for certain things that I don't have to now. So it's great.
it's tremendous. But there is, and you have to listen to both sides. But being adaptable, like you said, otherwise you're going to be left behind. What happens if China gets ahead of us? What happens if my counterpart's using it and I'm not? You're at a disadvantage.
Like,
And
exactly. And there's so many things that make you more efficient. It can help you even think out of the box. Like, I'm somebody who thinks out of the box. You are too. But sometimes it gives you that little extra boost that you need. Maybe you and I are you're working on speech for cyber. I'm working on a speech for like confidence. I can go and get some more tips and tricks and then mold them and make them my own to help motivate people. So there's things that can just make you more efficient. You can figure out a niche online to be able to sell certain things. There's just good stuff. But then there's like bad stuff, which is where Elon Musk is getting concerned too. Remember that AI robot they created and then they had to shut it down because the AI goes, like, formed a personality of its own and goes, I just want to be a human. And they're like, what the fuck? Like, they're gaining consciousness, which is
that's
where the Terminator comes in. So like, we have to put a stop to this. But of course, Bill Gates, the evil one, you got Elon and then Bill. He's like, no, let's keep it going. I want to have all robots.
it
It's
it's
frightening.
programming. It's programming. I heard 30-minute rant from Andy Frisella today about, hey, this is about government control and no one's going to be working and you're going to be relying on the government because of this. But it was also interesting on the left about, the same segment of, hey, McDonald's came in and some stores don't have any people in them, and how, these fast food jobs were meant to be part-time. They weren't supposed to be full-time and everybody
Right.
making $15-20 an hour. So it's, you kind of hear both of that. We have to have the human interaction. I look at AI is going to
I
be
think it's just an assistant. I think that
exactly
you need the human connection. Am I going to go buy like something that I need more information on from a robot? Probably not. I probably
right.
want that connection. You know what I mean? And like, I'm definitely not going to date a robot. Uh,
I hope not.
I've told you my dating struggles and my challenges and stuff like that. It sounds like a
Yeah.
robot would be great. I could program to like me, which would be, but at the same
So
time,
many responses I
yeah.
shouldn't answer.
I
Uh,
right. Well, don't worry. I wrote a book called Time to Light the Fuck Up. So let it rip.
exactly. Personal assistant. I think that's dead on. I think everybody's going to
Yeah, but my
have
robot's not going to be able to go buy flowers for my friend Stephanie's birthday.
no, no.
So it's still like, is it an errand taker? Like, that's when I think personal assistant. I think, hey, like, I don't have time. Like, my mom loves this. Go get her Mother's Day present, and then can you take it to the store and ship it? Like, bring me the card back so I can fill it out and then take it to the post office. That stuff, right? I think it's the calendar management, the answering the phones, the that stuff's gonna go away.
Right.
So it'll just be in a different job title, which actually could mean you have to pay out less money. But I don't know. Maybe we're gonna see little robots like running down the street, but like you could just trip the robot and be like, bye.
We're going to see more of it. I mean, I went to
Yeah.
my granddaughter's birthday that was happened to be at Sharp Chapel at Tulsa University. And in the quad, there was this little blue robot that was mowing automatically, just like a Zuma. And then they have now the trays of delivery, and they had some where pizza was delivering by different robots that were going by. This is a world we're already living in.
I haven't seen the robots yet delivering stuff. I haven't seen that yet.
You're going to see it in some restaurants where it's helping some of the wait staff. You're already seeing that.
So do you still have to tip them 20% if like
you don't have to tip the robot?
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's a cybersecurity tip.
Be like, can I? I'm on a budget here. Can I just get the robot service, please?
We're already there. So do you go hide in a cave, or do you start evaluating it? And
you
it's just like anything else.
Think outside of the box because you can get real rich on this. You know what I mean? Like there's so much opportunity right now. It's like, why would you not use this to become a better version of yourself?
I agree.
You know,
I agree. And I think that puts us on the far edge versus all the contrarians. And I really have a hard time with government control. Don't come in and control the internet and tell us what to post and what to say and those kind of stuff. You don't have any, what we develop for an AI shouldn't be controlled by the government.
No, well, we all know what happens when the government controls anything, it falls apart. I mean, they collect 40% of people's salaries and they still can't manage a budget. So the government doesn't know what they're doing. I'd rather have somebody else manage it. But here's the thing is, you don't know what's going to happen, but you're a man of God, and all this weird stuff is kind of in the Bible. The whole like rise of the crypto scene, and I like crypto because I like things the government can't touch.
Has that same kind of argument with it. If we
like maybe the end of the world is coming, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, how long have we heard that? 2012, it was all over. We're supposed to go and get in the big arcs.
Do you remember those people? They like sold their entire shit because they thought it was. I remember I was filming a sketch for like when I was doing acting, and we were at this gym in like New Jersey, and I had taken a bus there, and we were doing the scene, and we were in the gym, and I think we were like, I don't know if we were resting. Oh, we were resting because we had to do a night shoot, so they wanted us to like sleep and blah.
Right.
And then everyone's like, okay, it's the end of the world. And like, we like counted down. And then like 10 minutes later, like we all walked outside and we're like, no, we're good.
Nothing happened.
But I don't think it's like, but I feel like that one was like going to be like a bomb or something like that. This one's going to just be, you can't predict it. It's Jesus coming back.
There's been predictions throughout, right?
Yeah.
So 1999, it was supposed to roll over and everything was supposed to blow up too. So the same kind of thing. I don't know.
Move on until it is the end, until it's either your time or the time. And you just have to like adapt to change. But hopefully we as citizens can fight any government control, because we all know what happens is they silence opposing views. And sometimes those views that they're opposing you disagree with, and you're like, okay, good. But then it's going to switch on you as well. And then they're hiding the views that you want. And you're like, wait a second, this isn't fair. Like they shouldn't be censoring anything. We need to get back to like, these are the facts. You critically think, you're not stupid, make up your mind. But obviously they don't want that because then they can't control us. So the main problem is the government. Too bad we couldn't just have robots running the country. They would do so much of a better job. Do you know what I mean? And then we wouldn't have any like personality behind it. So they've developed these like fan clubs. I'm like, why are you worshiping our public servants? Like they work for us. You don't work for them. Like, but I would like to see all of Washington be a robot. I think we should elect a robot for president.
May have that opportunity.
Robot.
Maybe that's what is really happening. Who knows? And I didn't say that.
Who knows? Well, that's the thing is you don't know, and you kind of have to be prepared. You have to be adaptable to change. You have to be innovative at all times if you want to like stay ahead of the curve. The more money you make, the less the government can control you with whatever they're trying to do. So that should be your inspiration to like, hey, I don't want these puppets on my back. Boom, let's get successful so I can get them off my back type thing. You know? So at least you hope, but you can't walk around with a dark cloud hanging over your head either. And when I say government, this just cloud goes like on me
Right.
because they're so dark and just deranged. Yeah, can you tell I don't like the government?
Well,
I'm like,
there
wait, bring it back to Jesus. They're gotta be nice, gotta be nice.
there's no such thing as a successful pessimist, right? In the history of the
No,
world
there's not. That's
is
why we have to
what.
lift the dark cloud and say, even though you don't like what's going on, you have to have faith that God is always in charge and things are happening for a reason, and you have to trust the plan and fight for what you can, but also trust the plan and be willing to adapt to change, but also stick up for your brothers and sisters.
Well, that's why I'm excited about my new book, Don't Be Easy, Pray. And
I like it.
it's a follow on to Easy Pray. And, that's the biggest thing today is just teaching people how to evaluate and understand. I'm sorry, everything that you're doing is being tracked and recorded. And
It has been
people,
for years. People are just now aware of it. Now their panties are in a bunch. I'm like, probably should have been careful.
well, I always talking about, what's your ransomware quiz for getting ransomware. And the first question I ask is, do you use encrypted email? Most people don't even know that that's a
Most people didn't
thing.
even know that was an option. So how do you make sure you're using encrypted email? Let's go there real quick.
Um, Depending upon your service, you're going to have a button or a keyword. With our Office 365 clients, we give them a series of keywords, say secure or confidential or private. And there's also, alternatively, there's a button that we can turn on that does that. And so, if it's encrypted, then it's going to a secure portal and people are reading it that way versus anything you send just in traditional email is just like sending a postcard through the snail mail, and people don't understand
Yeah.
that. And so you should really only send email for like meeting requests and spurious type things, not important documents or critical information, because you're just giving it away not only to the government but anybody that can download Wireshark or a free download can monitor email traffic and monitor specific companies
Yeah. So
and get all the email.
don't fight with your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend via email. Do you know that actually happened? So my first job on Wall Street, I was working in mortgage-backed securities, and the whole how we were part of the housing crisis. We just did what we were told, whatever. So all these emails were getting pulled when all these banks started suing each other just to try to be like, I'm not so bad, blah blah blah. Anyways, so a lot of emails were like being pulled. And so we were all questioned about everything, but like I never had to appear in court. Nobody went to jail that I know, but everyone, they just needed answers and stuff. But like there was emails, like one of this guy I knew that I still talk to, like fights with his wife, like blah, blah, like all of it was like brought out in court.
You're just making a record of
This
your
was all, yeah,
stupidity.
it was like all,
So
I'm like, why did
that's
you do that?
that's
So
that's one of the things is I teach people, get away from email.
what about
Same.
text? How do you know like crypted text? Is that why people use WhatsApp more?
That's exactly why, because text is clear text as well, and it's just another record that you're making that anybody can intercept and read at any point. So encryption is along with two factors, one of those big things. Like every device you have should be encrypted. So if it's stolen or lost, that they can't get the information. So if you're
Yeah, I have
you have
two-FA
a
on
you have
everything.
a Mac
Mac,
or a Windows device.
Mac.
So it's called VeraCrypt. You can
How do you
turn
spell
on
it?
encryption for your hard drive.
How do you
and
spell that? VER,
VRA, crypt,
and then CRYPT.
CRYPT.
Okay. Veracrypt. And then will this make my Gmail encrypted?
It won't make your Gmail encrypted. The standard Gmail service, uh, they haven't added encryption yet. You can do that when you get to the Gmail suite that's on business. They have encryption that's
They
added.
do. Okay.
Yeah, this is a moving target, just like with MFA and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. They've had MFA for years. So Gmail is coming forward with some of the stuff, and they'll be following along with passwordless, just like Microsoft is doing too.
Yeah.
So that whole thing is coming.
Okay, so all right, so let's talk about your book before we wrap up and like where people can find you. So Don't Be Easy, Pray. When is that book? Is that book out now?
It is not out yet. The previous one to that is Easy Prey, and then of course the thing that I've been touting the last 2 years has been Change Your Game, which is just a series of stories about how you change your life, and there's a little bit of cybersecurity in it, but technology is about how to deal with change, and it's just like any kind of health issue, mental issue, those kind of stuff. Maybe they're together. Maybe technology is a mental issue, Madison. But you have to deal with change, right? And so that's what Change Your Game is. All of those are available at Amazon.
Okay, perfect. And then where can they find you? What's your website, all that good stuff?
You can find me at kevinfream.com.
And that's FREAM.com. You guys check him out. He's a very wonderful human being, very inspirational, has overcome challenges that most of us will never have to face. And he is doing everything in his power to help people, inspire people. You've inspired me. I'm so glad to call you my friend. And I'm so honored that you were on this podcast. Thank you so much.
Hey, I'm on a mission to help 1 billion people with cybersecurity. Thank you, Madison.
I love it. Well, thank you. And thank you to everyone who's listening, wherever you may be. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, share with your friend, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time to find out who's next.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@nexttomadison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.